Until now in this course we were working on a simple project with only a few permissions which were registered here in auth service provider. So all we have is 3 permissions. How to deal with that in a bigger project with dozens or hundreds of permissions? And for that there are a few packages that will transform this into the database. So your permissions and roles will be actually in a database, but you will still be able to use Laravel gates and Laravel blade commands about authentication. In this lesson we will review 2 packages, the most popular ones. First is Spatie Laravel permission. Spatie is a well-known Belgian company within Laravel world, so I fully trust them on their decisions, and this is their Laravel permission. It allows you to perform actions like these ones, so give permission to user, assign role to a user, or give permission to roles. And we have created a demo project with our Laravel generator quick admin panel. It's available on GitHub for free. It's a little bit older, so it has Laravel 6, but the core almost didn't change since then. So that project has permissions, roles, and users in the database, exactly like that package. So that package creates tables like roles, then roles has permissions related to permissions, and then model has roles, and model has permissions. Sounds pretty complicated, but then it depends on which layer you want to actually use. Direct permissions or permissions via roles. And also model has roles means that in theory you could change the user to whatever eloquent model. Haven't done it myself, but there is a possibility of that. And then, for example, when you want to create a new user, you add a user, form filler, and you choose the role, for example, administrator. Then in the code, in user controller store method, this is the line from that package. So we create a user and we assign the roles. And then that role gets the permission inside of it. But then in the blade, we can use the same can functionality. For example, if we do can info, for example, and can info, and add another menu item to something. So without any link, just information, like this. It won't show in the menu unless we add that permission. So let's add the permission, info, and then let's edit a role of current user administrator and add the permission of info. And now you see that information here. And those permissions are saved in the database, so role has permission 1 and 2. You can find out more about the package by visiting the GitHub or their official documentation where they have basic usage and more use cases, more complicated ones. And second option, what package to use to save your abilities or permissions in the database, is Bouncer by Joseph Silber. And I've mentioned the word abilities. That's how it's called here. It's not permissions, it's abilities. It's doing the same thing, so saving permissions in the database, but just with a different syntax. Bouncer allow, bouncer assign, and stuff like that. And guess what? We also have a demo on that one. So at some point with Quick Admin Panel, we decided to test both, Spatie permission and Joseph's bouncer, and we have 2 demo projects now. It looks almost the same, except for abilities instead of permissions, and in the database it's a bit different. So we have abilities, assign roles, permissions, and roles. So basically same thing, just renamed a bit differently. But as a result, we also can create a user, fill in the form, and then in user's controller is just a different syntax of user assign. So we can save that user. But it remains the same logic of can. So in Blade, if we repeat that experiment with can user manage can info, and can without link and info, by default we won't see that, but if we add ability info and then assign that ability to the role of administrator info, save, we see that info menu item. So same logic, it's just a different syntax. So if you do want to save permission in the database, you have 2 packages which are both really good. It's your personal preference whom you can trust more, Spatie or Joseph, or maybe you like some syntax better. And actually, I have written an article on Laravel News almost 3 years ago. Wow, time flies. So two packages, I compared them just function by function, so gates and policies. So it's quite a long article with database structure, and you can choose which one do you prefer better.